Good morning. We'll start with short introductions by the Secretary General and the President, and then they'll be happy to take a few questions. Secretary General.
President Rumen, Radev, welcome so much to NATO headquarters, and congratulations on your appointment as President. And I would also like to say welcome back to NATO headquarters, because you told me that you have been working here many years ago, and that just underlines your personal commitment and understanding of the importance of NATO. And in your previous role as commander of the Bulgarian Air Force, you helped to keep our airspace safe. And I know that you will remain committed to NATO and to our shared security now in your new role as President. For almost 13 years, Bulgaria has been a valued ally, making many important contributions to our collective defense. You provide ships to NATO patrols in the Black Sea, and you play a key role in the security of your region through your contributions to NATO presence in Kosovo, your support for the Euro-Atlantic integration of the Western Balkans, and your assistance to Ukraine, where you lead the NATO Trust Fund on medical rehabilitation. I'm also very grateful for your strong commitment to NATO's presence in Afghanistan, helping to fight terrorism and to prevent that Afghanistan once again becomes a safe haven for international terrorism. I met Bulgarian troops in Afghanistan, and it's great to be able to tell you that they were very professional, very committed, and we are proud of having Bulgarian troops as part of our presence in Afghanistan. The security environment which surrounds us is changing. We see a more assertive Russia. We see the turmoil and the violence to the south, terrorism. And we see cyber attacks and hybrid warfare. NATO is responding. We are responding by increasing our presence, both in the southeast of the alliance and in the Baltic countries and in Poland. We are strengthening our presence in the Black Sea region with a package of measures on land, at sea and in the air. And we will finalize this work at our meeting of defense ministers in February. And several allies have already indicated they will contribute to this presence, a strong sign of NATO solidarity. But security does not come for free. Therefore, we have to increase defense spending. And I welcome that Bulgaria has now started to increase its investments in defense. I think this just underscores the commitment of Bulgaria to NATO and to NATO decisions to strengthen our collective defense and to increase defense spending. NATO does not want confrontation with Russia. We don't seek confrontation with Russia. We don't want a new Cold War. So our response is measured, it is transparent, and it is defensive. But it sends a clear signal that we stand together, that all allies are ready to protect each other, defending one another. So, President, welcome once again to NATO headquarters. It's great to see you, and I look forward to working with you. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
Уважаеми господин генерален секретар,
Secretary General,
благодаря за вашето
thank you
гостоприемство
for your hospitality
и за топлите думи
and
за
for the
България
kind words about
и за
Bulgaria
нейната роля и принос към
and
НАТО.
about its role and contribution to NATO.
Благодаря за възможността да обменим
Help you for
важни
this
мнения
possibility
от
to
дневния ред на
exchange
Алианс.
important opinions currently on the agenda of
Самият
the
факт, че
alliance. The
аз в
very
ролята
fact
си на
that me,
български
in my
президент в
capacity
своята
as
първа
Bulgarian
визита в чужбина
president, on my
посещавам
very first visit abroad
главната квартира на НАТО,
and
показва
visiting the headquarters of NATO
значението на
shows
НАТО за
the
България
importance that
като
Bulgaria
организация
attaches to NATO as an
на споделени
organization
ценности
of shared
и на
values
споделени
and of
отговорности
shared responsibilities
за колективната
to our
сигурност и
collective
отбрана.
security and defense.
За нас
To us,
В България НАТО остава
in Bulgaria,
изключително важна
NATO
организация
remains an extremely
за
important
защита на
organization
сигурността
to
на държавите,
defend the
членки на
safety
НАТО,
and security
и
of
за
the allies
гарантиране на стабилност
and to
извън
guarantee
границите на НАТО.
stability beyond the borders of
Особено е
NATO.
важно за нас
It is
всички
especially important for
обменени
us
мнения
that
днес.
all the opinions
Подкрепяме
that we exchange today,
усилията
we
на НАТО
support
за
NATO
отбрана
efforts
и възпиране
to
и
defend
смятаме, че
and
България
deter.
е
And
част
we
от тези
believe that
усилия.
Bulgaria
И
is
ние ще
part of
полагаме
these
занапред
efforts, and we will
всичко
continue in the
необходимо,
future to make every
за да
effort, all
гарантираме
it takes
общия принос
to
за
guarantee
колективната отбрана и сигурност.
common contribution
За
to
последните 3
to
години
collective security and
НАТО
defense.
претърпя
Over the last 3
наистина
years,
една
NATO
сериозна
has been
адаптация.
undergoing a very serious
България е част от
adaptation,
тази адаптация
and Bulgaria has
и
been
този процес
part
ще
of this
продължава,
adaptation, and this
защото
process
така
will
изисква
continue
международната
and be
обстановка в
taken
момента.
further because this is what the international situation calls for at the
Уверих
moment.
генералният
I
секретар,
have assured to
че България
Secretary
ще положи
General that
максимум
Bulgaria
усилия,
will make the
за да
maximum
достигне
effort to reach
решенията от Уелс
the Wales
за
Summit
достигане на
decisions
2% от брутния
to
вътрешен
reach the
продукт
benchmark of
на разходи за
2% of
отбрана.
the GDP
Това е
for
изключително
defense
важно за нашите
spending. This is
способности
extremely important for
и
our
наистина всяка
capabilities,
страна,
and every country
член на Алианса, трябва да
member
поеме
of
този
the alliance
ангажимент.
need to
Той
remain
ще гарантира
committed to
нашата
the
сигурност.
2% benchmark because this
Увери
is
го
what
също
will
така, че
guarantee
правим
our
всичко
security. I
възможно
also assured the Secretary
за
General that
модернизация
we
на
do all
българските
it
въоръжени
takes to
сили,
modernize the
с
Bulgarian armed
реализацията на
forces
проектите
by
за
implementing
модернизация,
the investment projects
приети
for
вече от
modernization
българския парламент
already
като
adopted by
инвестиционни
the
разходи.
Bulgarian parliament as an
За нас е също
investment
така важно
investment
НАТО да
expenditure
продължава
project. It is also
консолидирането
important
на
to us that
своите
NATO
усилия
continues to
в
consolidate its
борбата
efforts
с
in the
международния
combat
тероризъм,
against
с
international terrorism,
нелегалния трафик на хора,
combat against illegal trafficking in humans,
нелегалните
and
мигранти.
illegal
Това
migrants.
за нас е много
This for
важно
us is extremely
и ние
important.
наистина от диалога, който проведохме,
And
усещаме
really, from the
подкрепата
dialogue
на
that I
НАТО и по
had
този
with
важен
the
въпрос.
Secretary General, I feel his
Оценяваме
NATO's
високо
support on this
ролята
important
на НАТО в
issue.
Западните
I
Балкани
highly appreciate NATO's role in
като
the
гарант за
Western
сигурността.
Balkans as a guarantor for security.
И искам още веднъж да
And
благодаря
once again, I'd like to
на
thank
генералния
the
секретар
Secretary
за
General
възможността днес да обменим
for this
наистина
opportunity
много
today
важни
to exchange
за България
really
и за
very
Алианса
important
теми.
for
Благодаря.
Bulgaria and for the alliance opinions and topics. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? BTV there.
Здравейте, господин генерален
hello,
секретар,
dear
господин
Secretary
президент.
General,
Моят
Mr.
въпрос е
President.
свързан
My
с
question is related
политиката
to the
спрямо Русия на новоизбрания
policy
и вече
concerning
действащ
Russia
президент на
that will be
Съединените
led
щати
by the new
Доналд Тръмп.
president of the
В
United
какъв
States,
план
Donald Trump,
смятате, че
and how
тази
do you
политика ще
think, in
повлияе
what
на
aspect do you think this policy
най-голямото
will
засилване по
affect
източния
the
фланг на
most,
НАТО, което е в ход
the
от
biggest
края на
reinforcement
Втората
along
световна
the
война?
eastern flank of NATO, which is the biggest reinforcement that we've had since the end of the Second World War? How will Donald Trump's policy
I
affect
spoke
this?
with then President-elect Donald Trump after he was elected in November, and I also spoken with Secretary of Defense Mattis recently, and they have all conveyed the same message, that the United States will remain committed to NATO, to the transatlantic bond, and that it's not only something that they say, but we also see now that the United States is actually increasing its presence in Europe. There is a strong bipartisan support in the Congress, and the Congress has quadrupled funding for the European Reassurance Initiative, which is funding increased military presence of the United States in Europe, with a new brigade, with more training, with more exercises, and with more pre-positioned equipment and supplies. So this is a strong political commitment, but it's also followed by, with deeds, more presence in Europe. When it comes to the relationship to Russia, I would like to underline that our increased presence in Europe is a measured and proportionate response to the behavior of Russia and a more assertive Russia, which has implemented a significant military buildup over many years, and which has used military force against a neighbor, against Ukraine. NATO is responding, but we are responding in a defensive way, in a measured way. We don't want a confrontation. We don't want a new Cold War. So we are keeping the channels for political dialogue open with Russia. And the message from the incoming administration is that the new US administration is that they also want dialogue with Russia, but it's based on strength. And I think that's exactly the same message that we are conveying from the whole alliance. And we agreed in Warsaw at our summit that we need strong defense, but also political dialogue with Russia. And I look forward to work together with the new president and his security team on exactly on how to implement and how to follow up that message.
Bulgarian National Radio, just behind, lady there.
Ще участва ли България тази година в по-мащабни
Will
операции
Bulgaria
с
this year take
съюзниците?
part in more
И кое
large-scale
според вас
operations
ще
or
бъде
trainings with
най-голямото
the allies, and
предизвикателство за
what
НАТО
do you
в
think will be
близките
the greatest
месеци?
challenge to NATO in the coming months?
Well, NATO, Bulgaria is participating in many different kinds of training and exercises in NATO and with the NATO allies. Actually, tomorrow there will be a new multinational exercise that will start in the Black Sea, a maritime exercise with the participation of Bulgaria, but also with ships from Canada, from the United States, from Turkey, and from other NATO allied countries. So it just illustrates that there are several exercises, different kinds of training activities where Bulgaria participate. And this is a part of the increased presence in the southeast of Europe, with more patrols in the Black Sea and also with more exercises, and Bulgaria is part of that.
Ако мога да допълня само,
Увеличени
за нас
обучения.
участието
If I can
участието
just
ни в
add,
учение на
our
НАТО
participation
е важно
in
не
NATO
само за
is very
повишаване на
important for us,
сигурността в
not
нашия
only
район.
because
То е
it increases
изключително
the
важно
security
за
in our region,
повишаване на
it's
бойните
extremely important
способности на
because it
българските въоръжени
enhances
сили,
the
защото във
military
всяко едно
capability
такова
of our
учение
armed forces, because in
ние
each such
усвояваме
exercise
нови
we
тактики,
acquire new
техники и
tactics, new
процедури.
techniques and new procedures.
Okay, one very last quick question, Wall Street Journal.
Maybe not quick. To the president, I wonder if you think it's time for sanctions against Russia to be eased, and whether you think more broadly NATO should pursue improved relationship with Russia, given Mr. Trump's desires for cooperation on counterterrorism. To the Secretary General, I wonder if you could comment on the sanctions issue, but also the Iranians test-fired a ballistic missile. I wonder if this, what you think this says about the relevance of NATO missile defense, and whether missile defense systems should be on the table in discussions with Russia.
Трябва да се дискутира и с Русия.
Първо,
First of
нарастването
all, the
на
increase
отбранителния и възпиращ потенциал
of
на
the
НАТО
defense and deterrence posture of
трябва да
NATO
върви ръка в ръка, както каза и генералният
should be
секретар,
hand in hand,
с
as
задълбочаване
Secretary General said,
на
with
диалога с Русия,
deepening
за
the
избягване на
political
конфронтация,
dialogue with Russia
за
in order
избягване на
to
неразбирателство
avoid
и за
confrontation and
снижаване на риска.
misunderstandings and to lower the risks.
Както и президентът Тръмп сподели,
And as President
основните
Trump
заплахи
also
днес
shared, the
са
main
международния
challenges and
тероризъм,
threats today come
борбата с
from
ислямска
international
държава.
terrorism,
Тези заплахи
countering the Islamic
няма как да
State.
бъдат
These
преодолени,
are all threats that
ако не се
cannot
обединят
be
усилията на
tackled
НАТО
unless
и на
NATO
Русия.
and
И в
Russia
Близкия изток, и в
have common
борбата
efforts
с
on
глобалния
this,
тероризъм.
both in the Middle East and in the global fight against terrorism.
We are looking into the nature of what happened and the details surrounding the ballistic missile launch. So I cannot comment on the details of that incident. But what I can say is that NATO continues to develop its ballistic missile defense system because we see that several nations, including Iran, are developing different kinds of ballistic missiles. and are testing and strengthening their systems. And that just underlines that NATO has to continue to develop a ballistic missile defense system. Our BMD, or our ballistic missile defense, is not directed against Russia. It's directed against threats coming from outside the Euro-Atlantic area. We have previously offered Russia to work together with them on this. Then Russia rejected, and NATO has continued to develop our system, which is a defensive system, and it's a way to protect Europe against missile threats.
Thank you very much. This concludes this press point.
Oh, sorry, sanctions.
Sanctions.
Sanctions is part of the response from many countries to the aggressive actions of Russia against Ukraine. The sanctions are decided by the European Union, the United States, and other countries. It's not a NATO decision, but I have supported and welcomed the sanctions. What NATO has done is that we have responded by increasing our military presence in the eastern part of the alliance, and we are continuing to do exactly that by implementing the decisions on enhanced and tailored forward presence. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.